Welcome to Global Eye News, where we uncover the hidden truths behind the biggest global and US developments. From the shadowy corridors of Washington to the bustling streets of Beijing, we'll shine a light on the forces shaping our world, often against our knowledge or consent. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew. Let's begin. We often hear about the ideals of democracy, about the power of the people. But what happens when that power is subtly, insidiously eroded by forces working behind the scenes? We're talking about the billion-dollar corporations, the tech giants, the secret lobbying groups, all maneuvering to manipulate the very system that should represent us. Wealthy donors pouring money into political campaigns, shaping policies to benefit their bottom line, not the needs of everyday Americans. Social media platforms, once heralded as tools of free speech, now acting as gatekeepers of information, amplifying or suppressing narratives to sway public opinion. And then there's the data. Every click, every like, every online interaction meticulously collected, analyzed, and used to micro-target us with personalized propaganda. It's a level of sophisticated manipulation that's hard to comprehend, let alone combat. This isn't about left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. This is about a system rigged to benefit the few at the expense of the many, where the very notion of free and fair elections is called into question. We need to pull back the curtain on these practices, expose them for what they are, and demand better. The future of our democracy depends on it. Artificial intelligence. It's the buzzword of the 21st century, promising a future of technological marvels. But lurking beneath the surface of this technological revolution is a chilling reality: the rise of AI-powered surveillance. Governments and private corporations are increasingly using AI to track our every move. Imagine a world where algorithms can recognize your face in a crowd, monitor your conversations, even predict your future behavior based on your online activity. This isn't science fiction, it's happening right now. From the streets of London to your own neighborhood, surveillance technologies are being deployed at an alarming rate, often without our knowledge or consent. We're sleepwalking into a world where privacy is a distant memory and our every action is scrutinized by unseen algorithms. The question is, what are we willing to do about it? The International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, these institutions were created with noble goals to alleviate poverty, to foster economic development. But somewhere along the way, something went terribly wrong. Instead of lifting nations out of poverty, these institutions have become modern-day loan sharks, trapping developing countries in a cycle of debt and dependence. Loans come with strings attached, hidden conditions that force nations to privatize public resources, slash social spending, and adopt policies that favor multinational corporations over their own citizens. Countries are forced to sell off their national assets, their mines, their forests, their water resources to foreign investors, eroding their national sovereignty and leaving them vulnerable to exploitation. The IMF and World Bank claim to be promoting economic growth, but the reality is far more sinister. It's time to hold these institutions accountable for their actions and demand a more just and equitable global financial system. We live in an age of information overload, bombarded by news 24/7, but who controls the narrative? Who decides what stories we see, what perspectives we hear, what realities we're presented with? The answer is unsettling. A handful of US-based media corporations dominate the global media landscape, shaping narratives to align with US foreign policy objectives. Wars are justified, atrocities are ignored, and dissenting voices are silenced, all to maintain the status quo of power. How often do we hear the perspectives of those on the receiving end of US foreign policy? How often are we presented with alternative narratives that challenge the official line? The media has become a powerful tool for manufacturing consent, for shaping public opinion, for justifying the unjustifiable. We need to break free from this echo chamber, to seek out independent sources of information, to question the narratives we're being fed. The Earth is warming, ice caps are melting, natural disasters are becoming more frequent and severe. The evidence for climate change is overwhelming, yet the very corporations responsible for this crisis continue to operate with impunity, engaging in a cynical game of corporate greenwashing. They spend millions on PR campaigns, touting their commitment to sustainability, their investments in renewable energy. But behind the glossy brochures and carefully crafted slogans lies a more disturbing truth. These same corporations are lobbying to weaken environmental regulations, pouring money into political campaigns to ensure favorable treatment, and finding creative ways to offset their emissions while continuing to pollute our planet. While they talk a good game about saving the planet, they're actively undermining efforts to address the climate crisis, all for the sake of short-term profits. We need to see through this greenwashing, hold corporations accountable for their actions, and demand real solutions, not PR stunts. We once looked to the stars with wonder and awe, dreaming of a future of space exploration and discovery, but that vision is being clouded by a more troubling reality: the militarization of space. Nations are increasingly looking to space as the new frontier of warfare, developing advanced satellite systems capable of disrupting communications, conducting surveillance, and even launching cyber attacks. Imagine a world where a single satellite could disable communication systems, cripple financial markets, or even trigger a catastrophic blackout. The weaponization of space threatens to escalate global tensions, spark a new arms race, and make us all more vulnerable in the process. We need to act now to prevent this from happening, to ensure that space remains a realm of peaceful exploration, not a battlefield of the future. We're on the cusp of a financial revolution, a shift towards a cashless society driven by the rise of digital currencies. But this seemingly inevitable transition comes at a steep price: our financial privacy. Central banks around the world are developing their own digital currencies, known as CBDCs. Unlike cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, which are decentralized, CBDCs would give governments unprecedented control over our finances. Imagine a world where governments could track every transaction you make, freeze your assets at will, even punish you for dissenting views by denying you access to your own money. The erosion of financial privacy has far-reaching consequences, threatening our freedom, our autonomy, and our ability to dissent. These were the 7 hidden truths shaping global and US affairs. From the manipulation of our elections to the surveillance of our lives, from the corporate greenwashing of climate change to the militarization of space, the challenges we face are daunting, but we cannot afford to be passive observers. Follow us to uncover more hidden secrets, untold stories, and behind-the-scenes realities that mainstream media often overlooks. Together we can shine a light on the truth and demand a better future for all.